Oh my gosh, there's a joke. So it's so funny it came back to me.
Is this what you were gonna tell
That
me?
was a joke I was gonna tell you.
Okay.
So we was talking at work
Mhm.
and one of my coworkers, she's younger, and so she's like, I guess going through like a little breakup or whatever, and she's like,
Oh.
yeah, nobody, my phone's gonna be dry now.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, you just wait till you get married. The only notification you get is Amazon. And my other coworker was like, for sure. We believe marriage teaches us more about ourselves than we would ever find by only viewing ourselves from a distorted lens.
Don't believe us? Stay tuned if you dare to form a different opinion about yourselves from each episode.
This is Unfrequent Talks
with Jenny
and Aaliyah. Because we like this episode could go on and on, so I want to stay on a course of direction.
I got you. I got you.
But okay.
Were you gonna say something else though before I threw that out?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Do you have a course of action that you want to talk about in the military?
I was just asking you so I was aware because I could add to it if I knew ahead of time.
Huh?
Don't worry about it. I don't have any. No, I don't have a course of action.
Oh man. Okay. I love you so much.
Love you too. This is how my brain works.
I understand that's how your brain works. I don't have a problem with you needing order. That's not it. It's like I was in the middle of talking and then you
Okay, I'm sorry.
interrupted me.
I apologize.
Thanks.
I can't find the word, but it was yeah, it had its challenges and I think the challenges help mold our relationship to where it is today. So I really do appreciate the fact that we did go through it. It was funny, I was actually speaking to someone today and they didn't know that I was in the military and I told them because they saw you on my home screen and they said, who is that? And I was like, my wife, because the picture we took, we weren't like posing together. It was just more like side by side.
Okay.
And so she was like, I think she was trying to be polite and not assume that that was my wife. And she was like, who is that? And I was like, oh, it's my wife. And she was like, oh, she's pretty. And then she's like, how did you guys meet? And I was like, oh, military. It's like we were both National Guard, and then I went into the army, we got married, and then she was like, why'd you get out? And I was like, because it started becoming a higher demand than my marriage. And at that point, I realized if we kept going, if I stayed in, I don't think I would have gave the attention my marriage needed.
100%.
And she was like, good on you. And I was like, I didn't think the money was worth the side effect that would actually potentially happen, because I saw it. I was like, if we stay together, we're just going to be together. We're not going to be trying to fight and figure things out. We're just going to be like together. And then there's the other side of the coin where you would have left. Like both coins suck. Both sides of the coins suck. So I was like, I don't like that. I want a different coin.
Yeah, that's so true. And it was rough. I love when people ask how we met because it does throw them off when I say we were in the military together.
I know. I love it so much.
Because like we don't look like it.
No, we don't.
And I know some of the old heads that were in. They're like, oh, I knew you were in the military because the way you walk. It's like, what? I was talking with someone on my social media about that. I was like, yeah, someone literally said that like we have a certain walk. She was like, my client literally just said the same thing to me, like just now. I was like, yeah, we just walk around with like, trauma. That's the walk. It's a trauma walk.
Exactly what it is. Ain't nothing special about it. You don't want that.
Oh man, no. But if you would have stayed in, because I got out, like I had already made my decision. Like when my 6 years were coming, I was like, I don't care like because they were at the time giving out a bonus. It was $80,000, and I was like, no, no. All my battles that had said before that bonus had rolled out, they were like, oh yeah, we're getting out, we're getting out, we're getting out. And then the bonus rolled out, and I was like, well, I think I'll just do one more.
Yeah.
I was like, are you gonna do one more too, Jenny? I'm like, no.
Done.
Like, but it's $80,000. Do you think I give a crap about $80,000? Are we gonna get the $80,000 up front? No.
No.
That's like hell no.
And it's gonna be taxed.
It's gonna be taxed like a son of a gun.
Yeah.
You're not even gonna get it. I keep rubbing my eye with the hand that I touched the pepper. But yeah, no. And so a lot of them did, like, not a lot of them, all of them. The ones that like we were talking, oh yeah, we're gonna get out. This is our last contract. They re-enlisted, and I'm like, no.
Mm-hmm.
They even asked me, they were like, you mean to tell me if they were offering a $500,000 bonus, I think is what they threw out there, like, you wouldn't re-enlist? I was like, no. No amount of money in this world.
Yeah, exactly.
Make me re-enlist again, unless it's the Air Force.
Yeah.
Because then the Air Force they're a lot nicer in the Air Force.
Oh, definitely.
They're so nice.
They got treated like royalty when
Oh
I was deployed. They got free Wi-Fi.
I'm so jealous of them.
Like, I had to pay for it with that damn puck.
I know. I remember the puck.
Oh my god. I used to be replenishing that little puck all the time, man.
You were like, oh, can you make sure I have money in the account? And I was like, girl, yes. It was insane. The
Yeah.
Air Force definitely does get treated a lot better than all of the other branches. But yeah, no, I was not going to re-enlist again, and I knew that. And my year was up the year before yours was up.
Yep.
So I was like, yep, nope. And it was all in your lap. I was like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, and
support you 100%.
That's one thing that I appreciated from you, because obviously the time I came back, to give a little context, the time my contract was sunsetting, I had just returned from Afghanistan. I had about maybe a year and some change left on the contract. And obviously, if we were gonna renew the contract, then we were gonna get stationed somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
When I came back, I was, I had just got promoted. I'm like, you know what? Like, let's see what happens. I'm gonna make something out of this. Like, I want to change the system.
Yeah.
And I started like reading the writing on the wall, because every time I turned my head, there was like another responsibility being added onto my plate. It just never stopped. And the more the things got added on, the less time or energy I had for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when I got home, I just want to be to myself. I want to sit in front of a TV and just do nothing, or just go to sleep and just relax and recharge my body. And so when I asked about the duty stations, they wanted to send us further away.
Mm-hmm.
Like, first duty station is Kansas. They're like, yeah, Washington. I'm like, God damn it. Like, can we get a break? Like, y'all really can't let us go back to the East Coast? No.
I know. And at that time, we were very much wanting to be near the East Coast.
Yeah. And so what I respect about you is you never like bled your opinion on me to the point that I should just surrender and do what you are suggesting. Like, I would come home to you and I would just complain, and I would just be like, oh, they're doing this, they're doing that. And then the next day I'm like, oh, I love the Army, I'm going to stay. And then I had more days of like, I hate the Army than I love the Army.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized it stopped being fun. And for me, like, I'm all about having fun. Everything we do in life, we choose to do in life, should have some type of fun to it. If not, then it's time to exit stage left. And that's what I saw on the wall. It's just like, it's time to go, because it's not fun anymore.
Yeah.
And this brings up another point. I think another reason I left the military is because whatever career field you choose to do, one of the things, if I could tell anybody anything, it is to choose what politics are worth fighting for.
That's a good,
or worth listening to. because that's one thing I picked up on about the military is I couldn't stand the politics.
Mm-hmm.
It was just disgusting, and I was like, I'm not kissing anybody's ass. I'm not gonna rub faces with anyone. I'm not gonna hang out with you just so you can do certain, tit for tat, what they call it, quid pro quo, quid pro quo. Let me get it out.
Mm-hmm.
Not doing that. And then also when I got out of the military, I realized I'm thinking like, oh, when I get out, everything will be fine. Like
Mm,
it's whatever. It doesn't matter what job I work. No, it matters what job I work because the politics don't go away. Like no matter
yeah.
what field you go into, there is always politics.
Yep.
And I think that's why I started changing jobs so many times because when I would get there, the politics was just like not up my alley. And I'm like, yeah, I can't deal with this and do this job. Like I like
Yeah.
this job, but I don't want to deal with the politics. So I feel like I finally got to a place where I can enjoy the politics. Like I do enjoy the politics. Like I don't feel like I have to suffer through the day to do my work and then go home.
Yeah.
I get to have both. I get to have a job that I actually like doing and I get to, poke around with the politics and have a little fun.
Yeah, it's very important. And I knew that right away. Like when I enlisted, I was like, what did I do? And I know my dad just said the same thing. He was like, what the fuck did
Yeah.
you do? Because I unfortunately had to surrender my dual citizenship with Mexico.
Yeah.
And my family was like, ooh.
Yeah.
They were like, what the heck is happening? But it's something that I had to do.
That
And
sucks.
I know if I could go back and do it again, I probably wouldn't um, join when I did because I joined when I was 17
Yeah.
and I was still a junior in high school,
Yeah.
like first junior in high school. And I went to basic training right after junior year, the summer of junior year, before senior year.
Mm-hmm.
And then after senior year is when I went to AIT. And it's crazy because it was an impulsive decision. And I tell people all the time, like, oh, why did you do this? I was like, it was an impulsive decision. Because it really was. Because I had a plan. I wanted to go into the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to wait. Obviously, when you go into the Navy, like, you have to be 18 and graduated from high school. So I was going to wait. But then a National Guard recruiter came in and was like, oh, you can join when you're 17. I was like, fuck it.
Dangle that carrot right in front of your face.
It was, oh my gosh. I don't know if you've seen, but like when people garden, when they're farming like carrots, a lot of carrots can be very misleading because like the stems will be like super super tall and you think you got this big ass fucking carrot and you pull that hoe out and she's like an inch big. That's literally like they dangle like, look at this big ass carrot, just wait till you put it on the ground and it's only an inch.
That's what happened.
That's exactly what happened. I'm like, god damn, what did I do? I was like, well, can't go back now.
Right.
But that's the only thing that I would change is like waiting till I graduate to enlist and probably go active. Because maybe we would have ran into each other.
I was gonna say
An
if
active
you
army.
were wanting to change that, then that's a gamble of us meeting.
I know. But I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I really did. It was great to be able to be like a full on military spouse with that little bit of military knowledge because I mean, you knew some people that were like full blown, both of them were active duty with families, and that didn't really pan out well.
Yeah, a lot of like I feel like we survived the stereotype
Yeah.
that most military marriages are either a sham or they end in divorce or they're together and they're both cheating on each other.
Yep.
And we don't check any of those boxes
Wow.
because we're very transparent and honest with each other. And I think that was another reason that I like appreciated you so much because I mean, I'll say this all day. Like, I knew you were the one. Like, I knew you were the one when we got married, but like, as you go through marriage, you're learning your partner. Like, you don't know everything about them before you marry them. I don't care if you've known them for 5, 6, 10, 20 years. You're still going to learn things about them as you're married.
Yeah, forever.
And when I left and you just, you took on that role of like holding all the responsibilities and you held your own with your finances and you didn't touch any of my finances that when I was deployed, I was like, I literally, and I gave you power of attorney. I'm like,
You
this
did.
lady, this woman could really like rob me blind. And I was like really like scared because all of these soldiers are telling all these horror stories. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, what am I going to do when I come back? And that never happened. And like, when that didn't happen, I was like, you know what? I think I found like, I really did pick my right partner because
Hmm.
money did not move you. And for
Nope.
most people, money moves them. And that's like one of the things that's going wrong in marriage. It's not even just military. I mean, famous people, like
Yeah,
people want to take you for everything you have. And that's one thing I can appreciate from you is like you love me for me and I love you for you.
I sure do. But yeah, I don't care. I've told you this a billion times. Like, we could live under a bridge. We'd be homeless.
You told me that many times.
And I'm be so happy as long as I'm next to you.
You have so, doesn't you?
Military was hard. It definitely. Oh my gosh, why am I getting
Don't do it. You
I know.
got
I
those
almost,
pepper fingers.
I almost got peppered again. But it was crazy because I think because we like loved each other so much and we cared about each other so much, we didn't just let each other go. You know what I mean? Like, there was an there was an actual argument that we had where we both shared our valid points and we didn't give up is my point. And I feel like a lot of military couples kind of do tend to give up like so easily. They kind of just throw in the towel and they're like, yeah, whatever. It is what it is. But they still go through the motions of like everyday life.
Yeah,
And that to me is a lot scarier.
that is.
It's so scary because that breeds, in my opinion, resentment. And resentment is such a nasty beast to have
It really is.
in a relationship.
It is.
It is it's unbelievably, like, I think that's probably up there with like trust breaking because it's so hard to kind of reel back in from both.
Yeah.
And we witnessed that quite a lot. I feel like you with your unit, me with mine, um, and then other people that we meet as well that were in like different branches or whatever.
Yeah.
But like that is such a common thing in military relationships that it is so scary.
No.
And I was so afraid that that was going to happen once you got out because your mindset was still like in the you have to do something, you have to stay busy
Yeah.
because that's what the army was. It was like you if you're not busy, you're not working. And if you're not working, you're doing something wrong.
But I did carry that narrative outside of the military
Yeah, and that's my
for the
point.
first couple of years.
Mm-hmm. And that was
Like I
my
couldn't turn it
point.
off.
It was really hard for you.
Yeah.
And that's why I kept like pushing and pushing for us to go to therapy because I'm like, I don't want to get to that point where I just throw in the towel and we just
You're
when we're
resent me.
mad, I resent you,
Yeah.
and when we're mad at each other, instead of arguing, we just
Don't talk to each
don't
other.
talk to each other.
Yeah, I don't play that game. Like that's one thing that like when that used to happen, because we did used to have that happen to us,
Yeah.
that would drive me so nuts. Like when you wouldn't want to talk to me because I'm just like yell at me, like scream. I don't know, like tell me your thoughts. Like I don't
Not
care if they hurt
yell
my
at
feelings, but like
you.
talk to me because like I grew up with that. Like I don't
Yeah.
want that type of energy in a household that we choose to be in. And
Mhm.
so I appreciate the fact that you really did push for us to go to therapy. Like it has changed our marriage in like a full 360 view. Like
Mhm.
I'm so appreciative. I feel like I'm really present
Yeah.
because I can happily say that this is like a very triumphant year for us
Mhm.
because I feel like instead of us externalizing every issue that's we feel is an issue that one of us need to fix for each other, we've been internalizing it and digging in deep inward and saying like, okay, what is going on? Like, what is up with this part? Why does it feel like it needs to act
Mhm.
out? Like, what attention do you need from me?
Yeah.
And so I've been learning a lot about myself, and it's the funny thing I always say, and even with the TV shows we were watching, if you're the common denominator of each issue, then you're the problem. And I've been realizing that with myself, like certain things I get like a little ticked off with you. And I'm like, all right, maybe I'm the problem a little bit. It's okay though.
Oh my gosh. I
But
know.
yeah.
I was feeling it too at the start of this. I really was. Because that's something that you are working on still.
What?
Interrupting me
Oh yeah,
in
yeah,
the
yeah,
middle
yeah,
of me
yeah, yeah.
talking.
Yeah.
I felt it. I felt it coming up. I was like, Lord Jesus.
Yeah. I'm sorry about that.
It's okay, babe. I know you're still working on it. And I know your mind works a certain way.
Thank you.
And it kind of needs structure. So I'm working
It
on that myself.
does. It's so terrible, but it's so good for me because I do it at work too. Like,
You
and
interrupt people at work?
absolutely, because everyone else is lost too, but no one will like actually fess up and say, "Hey, what is going on?" I'm the
Mm.
one that does it. Like, I'm the buffer, and they're like, "Oh, that's what's happening." But obviously, like, I need to work on it here because when you're talking, I need to be attentive and listening to what you're saying, not trying to get to a point or think of a plan because this is not work. This is a different type of work.
Right. This is exactly. This is the work that you have sex with.
It's
So
true. That is
you better
true.
work on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh man. But it's so crazy though that like in the military we didn't see each other like that because of your job.
Oh
And
my
there was a whole nine
gosh.
months where you were gone. You were in Afghanistan. You got deployed. That was crazy in and of itself. Um, but like when you got back before you left, in the few months that we had together before you left, um, we didn't see we didn't see each other.
That's
We
another
did not see
adjustment
each
we had to
other.
go through being on the outside.
It yeah, because we saw each other every day.
And that drove me nuts a little
Yeah, and
bit.
you were.
I'm with
It
that old
did.
mentality and
No, it really
perspective, I was
did.
like,
Because you were like, go do
what?
something. Go do your job. And I'm like,
Yes.
I don't have anything to do my job right now. So I'm right here. So here I am. Why are you being an ass?
I was just like, what is going on? Why is she near me every 5 seconds? Like, give me a break.
But now we've made a shift that we thoroughly enjoy.
Yeah. I do still like my downtime to myself,
Yeah.
but
And
I
I,
do understand that you like to be in my bubble.
mhm.
So we have a working balance going right now.
We do have a work imbalance.
I've learned to communicate to you because in the past I used to just get irritated that like
Mm-hmm.
you just want to be in my bubble, and like if I would try to go do something and then I find you in the same area as me, I'm like, what are you doing? So instead of just kind of like wanting to have an attitude, I just communicate with you. I'm like, hey babe, I'm gonna go upstairs, play the game for a bit. I'll see you later or whatever. And you're like,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Exactly. And that's all I have ever asked for is communication. And I can appreciate like your, even though it was a struggle, especially while we were both still in the military, like you never gave up. And that's one thing that I can appreciate from you for
Yeah.
sure. Because if you would have had just given up and like not shown any emotion, like a lot of people in the military, I don't know where we would have ended up. I would have hated to be in a marriage where we were just going through the motions.
It
And
won't happen that.
no. But I'm really grateful that like you chose to get out when you did because had you stayed in and then I know that you weren't enjoying the job that you were in, so you were more than likely gonna reclass,
Yeah.
switch jobs. That means you were gonna be gone again for like 2 months,
Yeah.
and then you were gonna come back, and then it was gonna be a lot of moving pieces, and I don't know what would have happened. So I'm happy that
Yeah.
that didn't happen. Although a part of me, when I asked you like whatever you want to do, I'm supportive of you. A small, small part of me, I'm not gonna lie to you, wanted to go to Washington. Just a very, very small part.
We can go.
We can't. That's.
It's not on the military dime.
I know, not on the military's dime. So I knew that like once we got out, I was like, yeah, we'll be able to travel wherever we want though, without you having to request for time to be approved
Yeah, that's not happening.
because that's
I'm so glad I
crazy.
don't have to deal with that. I'll take time whenever I want to take time.
I know. We definitely, I want to say wasted, but we definitely had our priorities mixed up when it came to taking your leave.
Oh my gosh. Yes, we
Instead of
did.
spending the time together that we so desperately needed to spend time together, we opted to traveling back to the East Coast and spending all of that time with
With
family and
family.
friends, and very rarely having that time together. So we're making up for lost time.
Oh, for sure. You're
we
making some really good points because now that I think of it, I'm like, what were we thinking? Like that was a lot of leave time being spent and money being spent just to travel back to family and we so messy because why didn't we break that leave up in chunks? Like why didn't we at least say, okay, go visit couple days and then boom, let's go to I don't know, Puerto Rico,
I
Washington.
know.
Like let's just go for 5 days, six
We were
days.
not thinking.
We didn't segment our time out.
No, it wasn't until like you had finally made that decision that you were like, I'm not re-enlisting, that we actually started to do things.
No, yeah.
We went to Colorado, just us two for a weekend, Valentine's Day weekend, and then we went to Nebraska because you took me to the zoo and that was so much fun.
Oh my
And we went
gosh.
to Dallas for your birthday.
Dallas was fun.
So we actually started doing things once you like made your decision
Yeah.
that like I'm getting out.
Cause I learned something about myself. I get laser focused on things.
Yeah.
And especially when it's like something that is so demanding, like I'll let it consume me. Like I just will because I'm in the thrill of it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what happened with the military. Like we had got over there, I had a game plan of like getting promoted, doing all the classes, all the schools, whatever it took to like, show myself and my worth
Yeah.
and mold soldiers that I started realizing like, man, this is really like taking over me and it's taking over my marriage. Like, when is there like a stop button? Like, when do you
Yeah.
bow out from it? And so, what I like about us now is like, I'm not allowing certain things to consume me. Like, I am in like corporate America. So when I go to work, I'm working and I'm on it, on it, on it, but I can cut it off at the doorstep and I can go home and I can be with you and our future children and actually like be present because one of the things I really neglected to do is when I was home in the military is to be
Mhm.
present.
Yeah.
Like I was always thinking of the next day, the next task, the next responsibilities I had to take care of. I was never in the present. And
Mm-mm.
I suffer with that now because I really don't it, I will give myself a pat on the back because in recent time I have become a little more present than I've ever been.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I don't think ahead so much. I'm actually like taking advantage of the time I'm given off or not having to do things
Yeah.
and just actually enjoying spending time with you. Like I haven't done that, and as scary as that sound, you like you've been with somebody for 6 years and you don't learn how to enjoy your time with them. Yes, that's a thing. It's a thing.
It is. And I think on top of that, the deeper thing might have been like you just didn't know how to have time with yourself. How to just be with
Absolutely.
yourself enough to want to be with just me, you know? Just to have that without thinking about the next thing or the next whatever.
There's this quote, and I shared it with you this morning when we had
Mm.
breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it so much because it really hits home for me. When I transitioned out, I was on the hunt of just trying to find the highest paying job like I
Mm.
could ever grab. That was my goal, and I'm like, whatever I got to do, I'm gonna do it. But the quote says, people think success is greedy, but really it's insignificant. That's why it never satisfies anyone.
Yeah.
And so when I heard it, or when I read it, I'm just like, man, this makes so much sense because, we've gotten to a place in our life where we're really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't satisfied. I'm like, I don't care to wake up, or I don't really have like any motivation to do certain things. And that's when I was in my previous job.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah, I'm making this money, but like there's no drive for me. Like so it's not about money. Like
Yeah.
money isn't the thing that yields you like the most success or satisfies you. It really is your present state is what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say. Like if your present state is fucked up, you gotta dig fucking deep and look inward. Something's broken inside
Absolutely.
and you gotta take the time to actually cultivate it. Because if you don't do that, you're ruining your future present moments if you are allowed them.
Exactly. And one big thing in doing that is communicating with your partner if you have one.
That's so
Because
true.
can you imagine if I was like trying to do all this work internally and I just don't ever let you know anything?
Oh yeah, that'd be terrible.
That would be a nightmare to live in. It absolutely will because it's important to be able to communicate with your wife, your husband, your partner.
Hmm.
Very, very important. Especially when you are choosing to be with someone or you are choosing yourself to be in something as straining and demanding as the military because there's so much going on externally with the military that it kind of has no other option but to jumble up your mind,
Yes.
and that's going to happen because of the environment that you're in, and that does affect like your partner if you're trying to organize your brain by yourself without your partner's, I don't know if I would say assistance, but it wouldn't help, to have them. But like, for example, us, like you wanted and you needed your alone time to decompress after work, but you weren't communicating that to me. And
No.
so I'm like so excited to see you because I haven't
It's
seen you like all day
yeah.
that like I'm trying to be in your bubble and you're wanting me not to be,
Yeah.
but you're not communicating that to me. So it's coming out of you in in an anger form. And that's what I'm receiving. And so then I'm like, it starts an argument.
Yeah, because it's presenting itself like I don't want you around me.
It does.
Yeah, I see
Absolutely.
that 100%.
So communication is definitely a big thing, and I think that's something that every military couple and every couple in general, to be honest, but more so military couple because we've been there.
Yeah,
We've been
yeah.
in those shoes.
Mm.
We've been around thousands of people in those shoes, and it is important to communicate. It just is.
And I want to actually capture this for some couples. The military works in their favor. Like,
Mhm.
more power to you. I'm so happy for you. I think the other thing is that needs to be considered for couples that do have a partner that's joining or they're both joining
Mhm.
is to understand if their dynamic is fitting for the military.
Yeah.
And I think we both learned early on, like, okay, the dynamic that we have is not fitting for the military
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
our dynamic, the way our dynamic is set up, you are so used to being around me, having me home, like, and if I can travel, like, you want to be able to opt in to travel with me. So, like, that would have been feasible. It wouldn't have been feasible for us because
Yeah.
I was constantly going to be away from you. And
Mhm.
that's just not how our marriage operated from the beginning. So
Mhm.
to try to push that on us and force us to adapt to it was another hurdle that we just really weren't willing to jump for the
Mm.
sake of security.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. Because that's like one, if not the top reason why we got married, is because we did not want to be apart from each other.
Absolutely. Like I okay, let's just be honest because I mean, like I told you this the other day.
Mhm.
One of my Facebook friends, they made a post and they spoke about the the marriage certificate and
Yeah.
how, people deem it as, oh, like, no, it's just a piece of paper, like it doesn't mean anything, whatever. But when you see a birth certificate, you want the father of your child to sign it because that legally grants you some type of child support
Or access
or
to, yeah.
access to, whatever.
Mhm.
And so the point is that it's not just a certificate, it's a legal binding document that gives your partner some type of access and rights to whatever
Mhm.
you have or what's going on to stay within the family.
Okay.
And I'll be honest, like when we started dating and we hadn't been together but 7 months,
Mhm.
I was like, I love her. She's awesome. She's amazing. Like I could see a future with her. But I know if I don't marry her now, I'm gonna lose my footing on this.
Mm. Footing as in.
Like the direction I wanted to go with us. Like as far as like staying together and
Mm.
making sure we, put in the work to stay together.
Okay, okay.
So because we were young.
Very.
So and at the time I had just got out of something. So I'm just like, I want to play the field. I want to have fun. But I realized that's something that's fleeting. I want something that's forever. So
Mm.
I'm gonna do the damn thing and I'm gonna leap because that's what love's about. You just take the leap and you figure it out as you go.
It is. It is such a gamble.
It is.
Love is such a gamble.
But I say that to end the whole marriage certificate is to say because of that and the things we went through in the military, on the other side of that coin, we have harvested and reaped so many nice things.
Yeah.
And it has placed our marriage in a place where we are secured, like we really are in many different ways.
Mhm.
And I will thank the military because a lot of the things that have made it a security blanket for us is because of the military.
For sure.
But I will never negate the fact that we went through it, so we deserve it. It's not something
Yeah.
that the military just, hey, you're a citizen, here you go. No, like we bust our ass and sweat tears and went through so many hurdles. And through our marriage, it created a very powerful bond, a powerful bond for us.
Yeah,
So yeah.
for sure. I definitely am never going to take anything away from our time in the military. because it's definitely been a propeller for us to where we are now, like you said, because we bought 2 houses already with no down payment thanks to the military.
Yeah.
We're able to like receive multiple discounts on things because of the military, and we deserved it because we were in the military.
Exactly.
And now I am just grateful to have continued on this path of commitment and communication and care with you after the military, because it further solidifies us in our marriage.
Yep.
Like that was the first stepping stone, I guess you could say. And then we were just able to build from there.
I love it.
And I loved every part of being in the military with you, being a military spouse.
That was a sight to see.
Was a hell yeah. Oh my goodness. So much fun. But I really hope and that a lot of all military couples are able to continue that path as well of commitment and care and compassion and stuff with their spouses, because like y'all go through a lot. Being active, Navy, Army, Marines, whatever, like y'all go through a lot. And us spouses go through a lot too.
Yeah.
So having that commitment and care and constant communication on both ends is very, very important.
It is.
Because it's only going to breed a healthier relationship.
That's true.
And I'm glad we are on this journey of continuing that.
I'm so excited.
Me too. I'm excited for our future.
Me too. It's already great.
Yes, it is. I love you.
I love you more.